Christmas!
Pain. It is an integral part of most video games. Getting better at a game demands the player to experience pain in the game and real life. But what if you didn't like the pain? What if you wanted to enjoy the games that you play? I don't. And that is why I have set out to accomplish this challenge, to prevent the pain experienced in-game and increase the suffering in real life. That said, can you beat Castle Crashers without taking damage? The rules for this run are simple. If I get hit at any point during a level, I must restart from the beginning of that level, even if I have already beaten it. I am not allowed to use any glitches to skip any levels or bosses, but I am allowed to do anything I want to make a boss or level easier. And that's it. So grab yourself some Scooby-Doo fruit snacks and a high-C juice box, and enjoy as I endure the equivalent of acupuncture therapy with pencils. Also, I have my face cam on because I was feeling extra festive this month, so enjoy it while it lasts. When deciding which character to use for this run, there are a few good choices that come to mind, but for this run, I will be using the Industrialist. His magic is the power of manufacturing. What does he manufacture, your beautiful self may be asking? Death. His saw blades will make the late game bosses significantly easier than if I relied on my pain stick. But the first half of the game is the same as most playthroughs. The Triceratops stole the King's Crystal, and that wasn't cool, so it's our job to get it back. So after saving Naruto's store, we pick up the first of 3 relics and get Snoot for a +4 in strength. War Machine and Barbarian boss each have only 350 health, so I killed both of them first try. Beat up the Butthole Bandits, and really take in the sight of nature. Troll Mother is the first potentially challenging boss of this run due to the number of enemies that can be on screen at any given time. Unless you're me, and I am. So a first try for this boss was easy. Roleplay Lieutenant Dan with an inanimate object. And I learned that although the bats will treat you like a fat kid treats donuts, they do not do damage, and therefore do not require a restart. For Catfish, I use a strategy known as a slide. By jumping and timing an attack at just the right time while falling, I can attack the catfish without him being able to attack me, making this fight quick and easy. I heard a friend was getting married and decided to take a detour to a local business and buy a surprise gift that wasn't on the registry. Exterminate the population of bears that had nothing to do with what my goal was, and because I lacked the ability to make inferences, I did not think that more arrows would come out of this launcher as I approached it. Remember what happened last time and get to the cave. Kill the bat before it has a chance to shit on me like everyone else does. Have an allergic reaction to a bee, and watch my friends die around me. Surprise the groom with the gifts that I bought, and now for a problem. Parade is the only level in the game where the player is forced to take damage in order to beat the level. The only way that it can be done damageless is with sandwiches, but I am unable to obtain sandwiches at this point in the game without breaking the rules of this run, and therefore, it cannot be done in normal mode. But this will not deter me, as I know that I can beat the rest of the game without getting hit, get sucked off, and bombed, and now I am a high enough level to get a weapon that gives me +5 strength, so I can turn my enemies into mashed potatoes. Now would be a good time to explain my usage of skill points. Defense is obviously not needed because any damage is a reset. Agility is otherwise the least needed as it helps very little with this challenge, and magic is not needed until later into the game when bosses are harder to kill with melee. So for now, strength is the only stat I need in order to quickly make progress in this game. Get through Cyclops Fortress on my first try, reset Lava World 8 times, 2 of which were because I felt like playing with my eyes closed. But when I eventually got to the dragon, I made sure to make it count, and I killed him on my first try getting there. Industrial Castle proved to be a problem with my current stats being entirely in strength, as the fingers in the boss fight prevented me from being able to get consistent damage without also taking damage myself. So with a quick change of stats, magic makes this boss fight significantly easier. Mass-produce the blood of the prince, and now with all the required relics, we can move on to the second half of the game. If you've watched my last video where I play the game with one hand, you know that the desert was the most difficult level in the game for me, and I had nightmares of it every night during that challenge. But that challenge was done on insane mode, so playing it on normal mode was laughably easy, and I beat the level first try. The alien ship, on the other hand, is another story. A projectile hell level is not desirable for a challenge such as this, and maybe I got unlucky, or maybe I'm just bad. But despite these aliens all having only 1 health each, I kept failing. So once again, I changed my stats to agility to make it easier to move across the screen when juggling. It took me 20 resets to get to this point, where I then proceeded to dash into the laser gate like a big dumb idiot. Kill a few more aliens, and then I can use the fly combo to fly over the smokestacks and avoid any risk of taking damage to escape the ship. Finish Desert Chase, Castle Interior, and Castle Roof, but the other team cheated in the baseball game, so I challenged them to a game of water polo, and I won. In Marsh, I was afraid that the graveyard would be a challenging area because of the 4 beefy enemies that can grab you out of the sky if they take even a single point of damage. But just like Desert, with this run being done on normal mode, these Halloween decorations were easy to deal with and only resulted in 2 resets for the whole level. Dude, Corn Boss was also easy. I got my cheek slapped for getting too close on my first attempt, but beat him next try by keeping a distance and using my magic. And then I got the horn, so I could now visit the aquarium. Make sushi of the local fish population, and not use my overpowered magic on the snake lady for some reason, but she still died. And now for Full Moon. This level took a fair number of tries, not because of the enemies being difficult, or even me making mistakes, but because of the occasional surprise visits from my least favorite wrestler. Dude. These sphere wannabes were turning me into the opposite of Sisyphus the way they were rolling my ass. But after dealing with the Mountain Man, we could make use of my favorite construction tool to slap nuts on the 4th dimension. By simply walking into the ladder while starting the fly combo, you can make yourself invulnerable to attacks so long as you continue the combo. Snow World is a much easier level than Full Moon, despite coming later in the game. Simply because of the Eskimos being lightweights, they are easy to juggle while also keeping myself off of the ground. But then Ice Castle. Yet another level that could cause me irreversible brain trauma. The Ice King has short damage phases, massive area attacks, and a constant barrage of attacks that spawn on your location, forcing you to always be moving. And I failed before even getting to the boss. After my first fail, I knew that my magic damage was lacking and would need to be stronger to be able to beat this boss. So key in hand, I opened the door to get this little freak as a pet, and picked up the unicorn horn. So with a change of loadout for a total of plus 10 magic, and a cameo from my best friend, Spiky Circles, this fight was only a matter of keeping out of his quick attack phases and sneaking in saw blades wherever I can during his icicle phase. And after only 9 resets, this fight was done. Now for what could be the level that kills this run. But before that, I have to get there, which proved to be no problem. On my first try, I arrived at the boss portals. Painter was first, and I think I said it best myself during this fight. Lol saw blades. Next was Undead Cyclops, and just like Painter, he didn't stand a chance against my magic attacks. Lol saw blades. With the first 2 bosses done this quickly, surely Necromancer wouldn't be too hard, right? This was gonna suck some seriously stinky asshole. Really? This is when that addition to Rule 1 comes into play. No matter how many times I complete this first section, I am forced to replay it without getting hit until I beat Necromancer. And that was a big ask, because the longer it takes me to beat Necromancer, the more tilted I will get playing the game, and therefore play worse, leading to more resets and an angrier gamer. It's a vicious cycle. And after just 11 resets, I decided to call it for the day and try again tomorrow. The bombs! Alright, that's it. The next day, it was back to grinding, beat Painter again, and instead of playing the game like a normal person, I stayed within the range of Cyclops' swing and got hit harder than my dad after a long night out. Fight Cyclops the right way the next time, and Necromancer was within kissing distance once again, which meant it was time for some more cock and ball torture. No! God damn it! This is when the insanity begins to set in. Like most gamers, this is the point of the game that I begin to truly struggle. There are 12 enemies in this area, all of which are medium weights, and all of which use magic. A lot. And for the first time in my entire Castle Crash's career, I hit level 30 before beating normal mode, which was no help to my mentality for this challenge, but it would only get worse. No matter how well I played this fight, there was a massive amount of RNG that went into getting a successful run. If I got too close to the thief or alien, they would melee me with a swing too fast to react to. What? If any of the beefy enemies got hit for even a single point of damage, they could grab me out of the air at any height. No! Bombs, projectiles, and magic jump attacks were also all on the menu at this all-you-could-eat buffet. If I even dared to end up above an enemy charging their magic attack and I couldn't see them, I was prone to anal penetration from a high-speed object.
What?
And with this many attempts being done, some were bound to end in manners less than ideal.
What? Iframes! Iframes!
With my sanity being at an all-time low and over 150 resets into this level, I was upset, but it didn't matter, because I knew that the feeling of beating this would be far greater than my current state of wishing for death. So after 2.5 hours and 193 attempts between both Necromancer and the Wizard Castle interior, I finally finished the second wave of the fight, and secured a victory royale with my magic projectiles on the Necromancer, and I was so goddamn happy. Even happier than the moment when I experienced my first kiss. I haven't. Now with the Necromancer beat, surely the final boss will be even more difficult. No. Like I said in my last video, the final boss is an absolute joke compared to Necromancer. I wiped the floor with his Kylo Ren lightsaber looking ass on my first try. We finally get the King's Meth back and rescue the final princess, finishing this run in just over 5.5 hours and a total of 269 resets. And that's the end of the challenge. If you've made it this far into the video, drop your address in the comments below and I will personally show up and kiss you on the lips. If you have any ideas for future challenge ideas for this game or others, let me know in the comments and I will consider them. But that's it. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you liked it, and consider subscribing if you enjoy this kind of content. See you next time. Can't even be happy, I'm just angry.